Something unbelievable just happened at the real-life Conjuring House, and it's left the entire paranormal world stunned. The highly anticipated Halloween auction has been abruptly cancelled, and reports now confirm that someone, whose identity is still being kept secret, has already bought the property in full. But who would step in at the last minute to take over one of America's most haunted homes? And what did they discover inside that forced the sale to happen so suddenly? Tonight, we're breaking down the eerie truth behind this mysterious takeover. And trust me, it only gets darker from here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because what we uncovered next will haunt you. Before the world knew it as the Conjuring House, it was just an aging farmhouse tucked away on Round Top Road in Burrillville, Rhode Island. Built in the mid-17th century, the property stood silently for centuries, its cracked beams and weathered stone foundation holding generations of untold stories. But everything changed in 1971 when the Perron family moved in, and what they experienced would turn the home into one of the most infamous locations in American paranormal history. According to Andrea Perron, the eldest daughter, the haunting began almost immediately. Doors creaked open on their own. The smell of rotting flesh drifted through rooms where nothing was visible. Beds shook at night. One of the younger children claimed to see an old woman whose neck hung to the side, as if broken. These claims caught the attention of Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famed demonologists whose work inspired the Amityville Horror and dozens of other supernatural investigations. The Warrens described the presence in the farmhouse as malevolent, possibly linked to a woman named Bathsheba Sherman, rumored to be a witch who had once lived on the land and allegedly sacrificed her child to Satan. Whether truth or legend, the story took hold, and by the time the Conjuring movie premiered in 2013, the farmhouse had become ground zero for modern hauntings. Over the decades, the property changed owners several times, each claiming strange occurrences: doors slamming without wind, disembodied voices, even physical scratches appearing overnight. Paranormal investigators from across the country, from amateurs to television personalities, traveled there to test its legends. The energy inside the house seemed to respond differently to each visitor, sometimes quiet, other times violent. But one thing never changed. Everyone who entered agreed that something inside wanted to be left alone. And now, after centuries of mystery and decades of investigation, the house has once again fallen into the hands of someone new. Someone who may have discovered exactly why that warning was never meant to be ignored. For months, the paranormal world had been counting down to one date, October 31st, the night the Conjuring House was set to be auctioned off to the highest bidder. It was poetic, even eerie. Halloween night, a full moon forecasted, and the most haunted home in America finally changing hands. Paranormal fans, ghost hunters, and collectors were ready to battle it out, both online and in person, for a chance to own the house that started it all. The auction, managed by J.J. Manning Auctioneers, promised a transparent public sale. The listing described the property in chilling simplicity: a 3,109-square-foot colonial farmhouse on 8.5 acres, known for its paranormal history. The minimum bid, $1 million. Within days, it became front-page news. YouTubers scheduled live streams, paranormal investigators teased collaborations, and fans worldwide prepared for what they called the Super Bowl of haunted real estate. But beneath the hype, tension was brewing. Former Ghost Hunters lead Jason Hawes announced he was determined to save the property from exploitation, launching a GoFundMe campaign to raise $1.5 million to buy it. His vision? To preserve the house as a controlled paranormal research center, rather than let it fall into the hands of thrill seekers or profit-driven media companies. Within a week, donations poured in, over $60,000 from fans who believed Jason was the only one worthy of its legacy. Then came the rivalry. Rumors surfaced that Elton Castee, Matt Rife, and even other unnamed media figures had expressed interest in acquiring the house. Fans accused them of turning the sale into a publicity stunt, The community split in half, those who believed the house should be protected, and those who argued that it belonged to whoever could afford it. But while everyone argued online, something quiet was happening behind the scenes. J. Manning's representatives stopped returning calls. The property's listing began changing, and just when excitement reached its peak, with days left until Halloween, the entire auction was abruptly marked as cancelled. Property sold. No warning, no buyer revealed, just silence. And that's when everything took a far darker turn. In the early hours of October 29th, just 2 days before the scheduled auction, the official listing for the Conjuring House was quietly updated. Where it once said Live Auction, October 31st, it now read Sold, Auction Cancelled. No statement from the auctioneers, no mention of who had purchased it. Just a single, quiet update that sent shockwaves through the entire paranormal community. Within hours, speculation exploded online. Had someone stepped in and paid the full amount in advance? Did the bank cancel the sale for legal reasons? Or, as some conspiracy-minded fans suggested, had someone with deep pockets and darker motives moved faster than anyone else? It didn't take long for one name to dominate the discussion: Zach Bagans. The Ghost Adventures star had a history of buying haunted properties, from the Demon House in Indiana to the Charles Manson artifacts that later appeared in his haunted museum. Many fans saw his silence as confirmation. Zach's definitely behind this. One user wrote, "It's exactly what he would do. Swoop in, pay cash, and lock it down." But others weren't so sure. Rumors swirled that a private trust based in Delaware had purchased the home through an LLC called 7 Knox Holdings. The company was newly registered, just 3 days before the sale was finalized. Paranormal enthusiasts immediately recognized the name. In occult folklore, 7 Knox represents a form of invitation, a spiritual calling for something to cross between worlds. Whether coincidence or intention, the name added fuel to an already blazing fire. Even more chilling were the claims from locals in Burrillville. Several residents said they saw unmarked black SUVs outside the farmhouse the night before the listing changed. One neighbor swore that movers arrived around midnight, loading boxes from the basement before driving off without headlights. When the Providence Journal reached out for comment, the auction company only confirmed the sale, stating, "The property has been sold privately. All terms have been fulfilled." And just like that, the trail went cold. Whoever bought the Conjuring House had not only the money, but the power to make the entire event disappear. And according to some, they didn't buy the house for research. They bought it to contain something. Before the mysterious new buyer came into the picture, the Conjuring House had already been spiraling into chaos. Its previous owner, Jacqueline Nunez, was supposed to be the person who finally brought stability to the property. When she bought the house in 2022 for $1.5 million, she promised to honor its haunted legacy while keeping it open to paranormal investigators and curious fans. For a while, she delivered on that promise, hosting live ghost hunts, private events, and overnight stays that quickly sold out. But by mid-2024, things had taken a dark turn. Locals began reporting unusual activity at the property, not supernatural, but behavioral. According to town officials, Nunez began operating the business without the proper entertainment licenses. Neighbors complained about late-night gatherings, loud noises, and strange rituals being performed in the woods surrounding the property. In August, Burrillville officials revoked her license entirely, labeling her behavior erratic and non-compliant. Then came the real bombshell. Nunez defaulted on her mortgage. Public records show she missed several payments in 2024, pushing the property into foreclosure. But that wasn't the end of her troubles. Around the same time, she was arrested for a DUI and later failed to appear in court, leading to a bench warrant for her arrest. The woman who once owned America's most haunted house had vanished from public view, leaving behind only debt and questions. Rumors spread among paranormal insiders that Nunez had become obsessed with the property, performing unrecorded seances, experimenting with so-called spirit triggers, and isolating herself inside for days at a time. Some claim she believed she had awakened something beneath the foundation, something that didn't want to be disturbed. By the time the bank seized the property, officials said the interior was in disarray. Strange symbols had been painted on the cellar walls. Rooms were sealed off with duct tape, and hidden behind a false panel in the basement, workers allegedly found burned candles and what appeared to be an animal skull. The bank declined to comment on those claims, calling them sensational rumors. Still, when the new anonymous buyer suddenly stepped in to clear Nunez's debts and claim ownership, it felt less like a rescue and more like an intervention. The timing was too perfect, the secrecy too deliberate, and to this day, no one knows whether they bought a haunted house or something that haunted its owner. The takeover of the Conjuring House didn't unfold like a normal real estate transfer. It happened in total silence. No press release, no photographs, no handshake ceremonies, no cheerful "sold" signs out front, just a few clicks on an online listing, a private payment, and an eerie, vanishing act that left even seasoned investigators speechless. It was as if the sale had been erased from history. When the Providence Journal contacted J.J. Manning auctioneers, they confirmed only one thing: the property has been sold privately, and all obligations have been satisfied. Beyond that, every inquiry hit a dead end. Even the local town clerk's office, which usually processes ownership records, claimed that the buyer's identity has been redacted per request. Redacted, a word that raised eyebrows across the paranormal community. Who had the influence to make their name disappear from a public record? That's when online sleuths found it. A new company, registered just days before the sale, called 7 Knox Holdings LLC. Based out of Delaware, it listed no physical address, no executives, and no contact number. The name immediately sent chills through those who followed the house's history. 7 Knox wasn't random. It's a phrase that appears repeatedly in old seance records and demonology texts, representing the point of no return in spirit communication. 7 knocks meant a door had been opened. Shortly after the company's name surfaced, witnesses in Burrillville began reporting strange activity around the property. Unmarked vans were seen arriving after midnight. Movers wearing black clothing and headlamps unloaded equipment. Some of it looked like camera rigs, others like sealed crates. One neighbor said they saw flickering lights inside the house for 3 consecutive nights, but no one entering or leaving through the main doors. By Halloween night, the same date the auction was supposed to happen, the property was already locked down. A no trespassing sign had been nailed to the fence, and the once popular tour website had gone offline entirely. Even the social media pages tied to the Conjuring House were suddenly deleted. Inside the paranormal community, theories ranged from sinister to corporate. Some believed a private collector bought the house to add to a hidden museum of cursed objects. Others whispered that a government-linked research group had stepped in, citing concerns that certain materials inside the property were too dangerous to remain public. Whatever the truth is, one thing became painfully clear. The house hadn't been saved. It had been contained. And whoever now controls the Conjuring House wasn't interested in fame or tourism. They wanted secrecy, total, suffocating silence. The news of the sudden sale and canceled auction hit the paranormal community like a lightning strike. Within hours, social media was ablaze. YouTubers, ghost hunters, and fans who had spent months following every development were blindsided. The comment sections filled with disbelief and outrage. "We were supposed to watch history happen," one viewer wrote. "Now it's like the whole thing was erased overnight." The most vocal reactions came from Jason Hawes, whose GoFundMe campaign had become a rallying cry for paranormal enthusiasts. After confirming that the auction was canceled, Jason quietly took down the fundraiser, posting a short, cryptic message. "Thank you for standing with me. The situation has changed, and so must we." His silence afterward only deepened the mystery. Then came the speculation. Fans began accusing other investigators of sabotaging the movement. Some blamed Elton Casti and Matt Rife for allegedly registering interest behind Jason's back. Others pointed fingers at networks and private investors, suggesting the sale had been orchestrated to keep control of the Conjuring name. Conspiracy theories took over Reddit threads, claiming everything from secret studio deals to supernatural interference. But as the human drama unfolded, something else began happening, something darker. Within a week of the sale, several investigators who had previously filmed inside the house began reporting bizarre experiences. One claimed their hard drives had mysteriously wiped clean. Another said their home security system started malfunctioning, picking up unexplained shadows. shadows. Even stranger, a few reported hearing faint knocks in the middle of the night, always 7. Paranormal forums turned chaotic. Skeptics dismissed the stories as coincidence, but veteran researchers noted that the activity seemed connected. "It's as if the house didn't want to be sold," one post read. "Now that it has, it's reaching out to anyone who's touched it." Meanwhile, Burrillville residents grew uneasy. Locals reported seeing unmarked trucks entering the property at night, flashing lights through the windows, a humming noise that some described as mechanical, others as chant-like. And through it all, the new owner, whoever they were, maintained total silence. The paranormal community, once united by curiosity and respect, had turned on itself. The energy around the house wasn't just haunting anymore, it was infectious. And as the rumors spread, so did a chilling realization. Maybe the house wasn't waiting to be investigated. Maybe it was choosing who would suffer next. As the chaos spread online, whispers began surfacing from people who claimed to have worked inside the Conjuring House just before the sale was finalized. Their stories, if true, paint a disturbing picture of what may have triggered the sudden and secretive purchase. According to one alleged contractor, an inspection team hired by the bank discovered irregularities beneath the foundation. Not just rot or decay, but something that made several workers refuse to return. One anonymous source described the moment vividly. "We found a sub-basement we didn't know existed, a crawl space sealed with rotted boards and wax markings. When we opened it, the air felt electric. There was this low sound, like breathing, but no draft, no pipes, nothing that could have caused it." He said his tools malfunctioned moments later. Another worker reportedly blacked out for several minutes after touching a carved wooden plank with strange symbols on it. Word of this discovery allegedly reached the auction company and the bank, and soon after, all work stopped. The crew was told to cease all activity until further notice. Within 24 hours, a private security team arrived, removed the equipment, and sealed the area. Local officials never released any public record of that inspection, yet the sale closed just days later. Then came the so-called basement audio. A paranormal technician who claimed to have briefly handled property recordings said he heard something he couldn't explain. On a static, heavy track recorded beneath the house, a guttural voice repeated a chilling phrase, "We never left." When the technician attempted to replay it, the file corrupted and vanished. He tried to recover it from backups, all wiped. "It's like it deleted itself," he told an online investigator. Soon after these accounts surfaced, those same individuals reportedly received cease and desist letters from attorneys representing an undisclosed party. Screenshots of the letters leaked briefly on Reddit before being deleted within hours. The message was clear: stop talking about what was found under the Conjuring House. And that's when everything began to make a sinister kind of sense. The quiet purchase, the erased records, the nighttime activity. Whoever bought that property wasn't just protecting an investment, they were protecting a secret. Something unearthed that wasn't supposed to exist. Something that had been buried for a reason. Since the sudden sale, the new owners of the Conjuring House have maintained complete and calculated silence. No statements, no press appearances, not even a leak to confirm their identity. The gates remain locked, the windows covered. The once bustling driveway, where tourists, ghost hunters, and TV crews once lined up for tours, now sits empty under a shroud of fog and secrecy. Even the locals, who had grown used to late-night lights and camera crews, say it's like the house simply went dead. But dead doesn't mean quiet. Neighbors have reported strange activity in the weeks following the transfer. At first, it was just distant noises, soft humming sounds coming from the property long after midnight. Then came the lights, a dull red glow flickering through the top-floor windows, like a candle moving from room to room. One witness described seeing a figure in the yard, motionless, staring toward the road for several minutes before disappearing into the shadows. Whatever's happening inside, it's being done under extreme secrecy. Burrillville residents say men in black SUVs occasionally pull into the driveway, stay for hours, and leave before sunrise. No one talks, no one answers questions. Drone footage taken by a local investigator showed new fencing along the back of the property, the same area where the alleged sealed sub-basement was discovered. discovered. One image appeared to show a metallic structure or container being lowered into the ground by crane under a tarp. Days later, that area was filled and covered with sod. Paranormal circles believe the buyer may not be an individual at all, but a private research organization, possibly one connected to occult archives or even federal research contracts. Some go further, speculating that the government intervened to contain something discovered beneath the property. A few even point to past declassified documents referencing spiritual anomalies in Rhode Island in the 1970s, documents released years after the Warrens' original investigation. Meanwhile, online, the silence has only deepened the obsession. Entire communities on Reddit, TikTok, and YouTube have dedicated themselves to decoding the mystery. Some claim to have intercepted radio frequencies from the area, distorted sounds resembling voices or screams. Others insist that the house's energy has shifted, radiating outward, affecting those who have ever entered it. But perhaps the most haunting part of all is the reaction from those who once knew the property best. When Andrea Perron, the eldest daughter of the original family, was asked recently about the new ownership, she gave a single unsettling reply. The house has always known who it belongs to, and now, it seems, it's finally back in their hands.